If it's Thursday night, say yeah. For it's Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. Hello, friends. Anthony Fleury here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday on this cool Thursday night here. I apologize for the late start. I had a little Google issue. Um, Usually, when I try to invite these guys, the names usually come up, but for some odd reason, they didn't. So I had to search. I had to search frantically for their emails associated. So thankfully, I found them. Well, I remembered bullets. I forgot MFs, but thankfully, I found the information needed. So I do apologize for the slight delay. It was because of that little issue, but we're here. We're ready to go. It's Anthony Flair here with good old MF Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock, and week 5 already, guys. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, here we are. I mean, I thought we, just started this thing, and now all of a sudden here we go, week 5 action, all ready to go, and I have all the necessary information I need. So with that being said, fellas, let's dive on in to week 5. No game tonight in the college world. There is one in the NFL. Thursday night football, of course, the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. Packers up 14-0 late in the second quarter. Yeah, you heard me right. Second quarter, they had a 47-minute weather delay due to lightning. And they stopped the game at around 9:13, and right around the stroke of 10, they brought it back. So if you're looking for it, it's on CBS or the NFL Network. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson on the call for that. So, and if any necessary updates come in, we'll be sure to break it to you. So without any further ado, guys, here we go. Week 5 of the college football season, here and now. 2 games tomorrow night. One interesting, middle-of-the-road kind of game, but the other so good that it actually happens to be our number 2 game of the week, if you can believe that. So let's start it off with the first one. It's at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN. It'll be the number 14 Miami Hurricanes squaring off against the Duke Blue Devils at Brooks Field at Wallace Wade Stadium, Durham, North Carolina. And working this game is going to be Dave Lamont, Mac Brown, Julie Stewart-Binks. They're going to be there. And Miami, a 6.5-point favorite. So without any further ado, let's dive on in. I mean, it's a battle of unbeatens. Miami 2-0, Duke 4-0, and Duke's head football coach David Cutcliffe is not really keen on this Friday night thing. I mean, he even issued an apology to the fact, and he said he doesn't like the fact that Friday night football exists because it should be for high schools. But he apologizes to all of the high school programs. But if we're going to do it and do it contractually, we need to do it right. And well, it's because of the ACC's television package, which earlier this season featured Boston College over Northern Illinois, Syracuse over Central Connecticut State, and Virginia, with a huge win at Boise State. So, first ACC game of the season on Friday night, featuring 2 undefeated teams. Miami coming off of a 52-30 win over Toledo, and Duke, of course, last week gave Coach Cutcliffe his 100th win of his entire career, or the 27-17 win at North Carolina, their most hated rival. Last time these teams met in Durham last year, the game produced one of the wildest finishes in college football history. Miami, which had fired Al Golden earlier in the week, was playing its first game under interim coach Larry Scott, and the Hurricanes won 30-27 on a 91-yard kickoff return that featured 8 laterals as time ran out. And it made ESPN commentator Alan Bestwick lose his mind. And with starter Brad Kaya out with a concussion that week, junior quarterback Malik Rozier made his first start for Miami and had 272 yards and 2 scores. Last year, Miami had an easier time with Duke, 40-21 in Miami, behind 396 yards and 4 TDs from Brad Kaya. Rozier is in the rematch this time around, and 550 passing yards, 2 starts, with 333 coming last week against Toledo, in which he only had 50 in the first half, which is amazing. But Duke will counter with their quarterback, sophomore quarterback Daniel Jones, his second season as starter. He's got 904 yards already, only 2 interceptions. And, Rozier has a huge weapon in running back Mark Walton, who had a career high 204 yards and has 352 yards on 27 carries in the 2 games. And this is a little bit of a tough one here, but I'm actually going to go with Miami to win this one. Duke's off to a nice start. Surprised they're not ranked, but it is what it is. But I just think Miami's the better team, and I know it's at Duke, and I know there is a chance for an upset here, but I just think, like I said, I just think Miami's the better team. But Duke will give them fits. So no denying that. But Miami's just going to be too much in the end. My final here, I will go 31-24. Miami beats Duke in Duke tomorrow night. So, MF, Michael Fletcher, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on this. Miami, your other favorite team, along with Michigan. Miami going up against Duke, and Duke 4-0, but not ranked. Kind of surprises me.
Yeah, but because of the fact that the quality of the wins have not been that amazing, and that's why I think Duke is definitely getting held down a little bit by the rest of the college football brass. If it's the coaches poll or the AP poll, they're not getting a lot of love from them. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to hold that against them. But I will say this. This is going to be a good game, a solid matchup. And plus, on top of that, I just think that even though Miami has had a couple of games under their belts, Duke has had some better battles, some better victories along the way. But this is a major test for Duke because now they're playing one of the top teams in the ACC. We're going to get to see what they're really made of at this point. And for Miami, this is also a major test for them. Going on the road to Durham, which is not an easy place to play, especially with Duke at home. This is not your typical Duke football team that struggles and is bad. They've actually been very good. As a matter of fact, I think they made a run at the ACC title one year. So, I mean, yes, they're a decent enough team, but I'll give Miami the credit where credit's due, and I think Miami will win it, but it's going to be closer to what the experts have it. I say at least by a 2-touchdown margin, Miami should win. So with that said, Michael Bullock, come on in, my friend. It's all yours.
Yeah, I mean, Duke. Yeah, I mean, Duke is definitely. They played well in the first 4 games. I mean, you gotta give them credit for that. I mean, yeah, it's been. It's against teams that they should be able to beat. So that's why, like Fletcher just mentioned, they're not in the polls. So this will be a true test for them to see how they do against a team like Miami. Yeah, they've only played 2 games, obviously, because of the whole hurricane situation, but they're still a good team. But either way, I got Miami winning this one as well, and it's going to be a close one, closer than what the experts say here. So I got Miami winning this one. So let's move on to the next game that's on a Friday night, and this is a battle, a really big battle in the Pac-12.
Ooh, so big. Guys, it's not often I say this, but how often is it that a Friday night game, one of our top 3 games of the week? In fact, it's the number 2 game of the week because of the ranking, because of the way they're ranked, I guess. 10:30 on ESPN as part of a doubleheader. The number 5 USC Trojans squaring off against the number 16 Washington State Cougars. Clarence D. Martin Stadium. It'll be on ESPN. Adam Amin, Dusty Dvorak, Molly McGrath, they'll be on the call. And USC, a 4.5 to 5-point favorite against Washington State. And MF, we start this one off with you. We know it's no secret that you're high on USC. It's well documented. How high are you here in this first major test for the Trojans?
It is the first major test for the Trojans, and this is a major test for them as well. They're going to have to really show up because Washington State is not a lay-down team. They will definitely bring the kitchen sink at them. USC didn't really have their best performance against California. They kind of got away a little bit, which was there was a few mistakes along the way that was made in the game, but they just knuckled down. They played harder. They showed their heart and their mettle, and that's why they won that game. And for me, they're just gonna have to do it again. They're gonna have to just show that mettle. Going on the road in Washington State, not an easy place to play. That's going to be I'm going to probably say that a lot tonight for certain games. And this is one of those battles, a Pac-12 battle. This is going to be basically a barn burner, down to the wire, in your face, high scoring affair. But I think SC just has the weapons. I think it's going to be one of those where USC will have enough in the tank to get the job done. My final score is 35-31. USC escapes with the victory. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, this is definitely a big game in the Pac-12, and like you said, Florio, this is not too often you get a big game on a Friday night, to say the very least. But we get one here, and yeah, I mean, this is a chance for Washington State to really make a name for themselves against a team like USC. I mean, if they want to prove they're tougher than the Trojans, then they really need to play hard. I think the keys for me, the one key is they need to get off to a fast start against a team like USC and basically jump on them early, score early, and if you could do that, then you just may have a chance here to pull off the upset here. But yeah, with USC, I mean they got some offensive weapons, and yeah, Donald has been a little shaky at the start with his interceptions, but I think he's going to play a solid enough game to help lead the Trojans to victory. I think USC wins it, but boy, this is going to be a really close one. But yeah, to me, I mean, and like I said again, if Washington State wants to pull off this upset here, they need to get off to a fast start quickly at the start of the game. So nothing else for me to say. Florio, it's yours.
Who do you have, Bullock? I didn't quite hear that. You have USC winning, or?
Yeah, I said I had USC winning this.
All right. Do you have a final score, or?
I'm gonna say, yeah, I think this is gonna be high scoring. I'm gonna say 48 to. I'm actually gonna go 41-31 is gonna be my final score.
All right, fair enough. I just wanted to double check on that because you were going so fast. All right. I'm leaning towards SC myself. Don't get me wrong. I'm very high on Washington State. I really am. I mean, I love Luke Falk and I love that offense, but I mean, Washington State, they've started the season 4 victories all at home, but those games were merely appetizers leading up to the main course, a Pac-12 showdown against USC tomorrow night. Rare spotlight game in Pullman, Washington's Martin Stadium with a capacity of about 33,000. Sold out last week, and they should be rocking. Oh, it will be rocking. You know it will be. Cougars 4-0 for the first time since 2001. Trojans have won 13 consecutive games, nation's second longest streak. Each team opened conference play with a win. And USC coach Clay Helton, whose team is playing back-to-back road games on a short week of practice, he said he was most concerned about Washington State having a start-fast team, especially after the Trojans have either trailed or been tied in the fourth in 3 of their 4 games. And that was the story last week at Cal when USC rallied for 17 points in the fourth to win 30-20. Trojans have outscored opponents 72-38 after 3 quarters. Washington State outscoring opponents 87-19 in the first half this year. In contrast to USC's ability to come on strong late, Washington State trailed off in last week's 45-7 rout of Nevada. Cougars scored only 10 points after building a 35-0 halftime lead. Washington State senior quarterback Luke Falk was 36 of 47 for 478 yards and 5 touchdowns in the win over Nevada. 4 TD passes in the second quarter marked the 100th of his career, moving in past former USC quarterback Matt Leinart for 3rd on the Pac-12's career list. Through 4 games, Falk has guided Washington State to number 12 in the nation in scoring, averaging almost 44 a game in Mike Leach's air raid attack. Falk, he's completed 67.1% of his passes for 344 yards a game with 14 TDs, only 1 pick. He's going to face a USC defense that has forced 6 turnovers against Cal, and SC has 11 takeaways, 3rd most in the nation. USC cornerback Jack Jones, part of an athletic secondary, earned Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week honors after 2 picks against Cal. USC redshirt sophomore quarterback Sam Darnold, considered to be a potential number 1 draft pick in 2018, has come up clutch late in games, but he's also been intercepted 7 times this year, just 2 fewer than he made in 10 starts last year. Darnold will face a Washington State defense that ranks number 1 in the Pac-12 in passing defense, allowing only 142.2 yards a game, averaging 306.2 passing yards a game, completing 98 of 146 passes with 9 TD passes. Darnold might have to operate without his top rusher, junior Ronald Jones II, who could miss his 2nd consecutive game with a thigh contusion and sprained ankle. He was considered questionable earlier in the week. Trojans might have to lead it again with freshman Stephen Carr, who had 82 yards and a touchdown against Cal. First USC true freshman to start at tailback since Dylan Baxter in 2010. They also played last week without receiver Stephen Mitchell and defensive end Porter Gustin. Gustin is out indefinitely. Trojans' 13-game winning streak, their longest since winning 34 in a row under Pete Carroll from 03 to 05. They started the week as 4-point favorites over Washington State, but it's now 5, and it's going to be a great atmosphere. The Jones injury concerns me. I'm not going to lie there, but game. I think it could be a classic. Could be some Shakespearean drama there. So when I say 38-34 SC over Washington State, should be a good one. And now, guys, let's get into our Saturday slate. 3 games at high noon, and we start off with a Big Ten battle, which will be on ABC. The number 10 Wisconsin Badgers at home at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, hosting the Northwestern Wildcats. This game will be on ABC. Brock Huard, Allison Williams, they will be on the call for that. And the spread favors Wisconsin, 14.5 to 15. Michael Bullock, Wisconsin, 2 touchdown favorites against Northwestern. What says you?
All right. Yeah, I mean, the outcome of the game could boil down to how defenses contain Badgers freshman running back Jonathan Taylor and Wildcats senior running back Justin Jackson. Taylor was listed as the sole starter on the Badgers depth chart released Monday. Junior Chris James and sophomore Bradrick Shaw were listed as second-team players. Taylor leads the Big Ten in rushing and ranks 5th in the nation, averaging 146 yards per game. He had a 3-touchdown, 233-yard performance in his first start during the Badgers' 31-14 victory over Florida Atlantic on September 9th. He has 53 carries for 438 yards and 5 touchdowns. Shaw had 18 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown in Wisconsin's opener against Utah State, but he suffered a right leg injury and missed the Florida Atlantic game. Shaw had 4 carries in a 40-8 victory at BYU on September 16th. Jackson had a stellar effort in Northwestern's 49-7 home win against Bowling Green on September 16th. He posted his best effort of the season with 18 rushes for 121 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jackson has accumulated 4,437 career rushing yards and is 108 shy of the program record set by Damian Anderson for 97-2000. Wildcats coach Pat Fitzgerald said he thought Jackson had the potential to be a great player the moment the 5'11", 200-pounder got to the campus. Jackson has had decent results against the Badgers, except for last season. The Badgers held Jackson to 13 rushes for 42 yards and a 21-7 win. But the Wildcats previously earned back-to-back victories over Wisconsin with help from Jackson. He collected 35 carries for 139 yards and a touchdown in a 13-7 win in 2015. And then in 2014, he rushed 33 times for 162 yards in the win in Evanston, Illinois during his freshman campaign. Northwestern also has a veteran quarterback, junior Clayton Thorson, who has completed 63.9% of his 97 passes for 842 yards with 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. His Wisconsin counterpart, Alex Hornibrook, has been even more efficient, completing 49 of his 70 passes for 701 yards with 8 touchdowns and 1 pick. Badger senior Troy Fumagalli is one of the nation's top tight ends with 3 touchdowns among his team-high 15 receptions. Wisconsin ranks 7th nationally in total defense, allowing 248 yards per game, but Northwestern has more firepower than any of the Badgers' previous foes. So, starting the road game will be a challenge for Northwestern, which has a handful of rookie starters, including freshman defensive end who has 10 tackles, including loss. So, this is I got Wisconsin winning this one. I'm going to say probably 28-14 is going to be my final score. The Badgers are just too good, especially at home. So I got nothing more to say. Florio, it is yours.
Yeah, you said it all, Bullock. No question about it. It's Wisconsin. I mean, it has to be Wisconsin. Hornibrook will have a big game. The running game's going to get going. So they're 2 touchdown favorites. They're at home. Should be an easy one for them. So I'll give you that same score, Bullock. 28-14, Wisconsin over Northwestern. MF, who do you like in this Big Ten matchup? Right in your wheelhouse here.
Yeah, right in the wheelhouse. This is going to be a good matchup, no doubt about it. I'm pretty optimistic about how this game's going to play out. But I'm with you guys. I got to say, Wisconsin as well. They're just a strong team right now. Anything else that I can say about it? So I'm just gonna go with Wisconsin and say that's pretty much who I got. So nothing more to say. Let's just move on.
Move on to our next high noon game. This game will be broadcast on the CBS Sports Network. Not often we get those games, but we'll take one. Number 18, South Florida Bulls, squaring off against the East Carolina Pirates at Dowdy Ficklen Stadium. Yeah, I like that name. Dowdy Ficklen Stadium in East Carolina. This game will be on the CBS Sports Network, like I said. John Sadak, Randy Cross, Jordan Daigle, they will be on the call. And South Florida, a 22 to 23 point favorite. I'm just going to make this short and sweet. It's South Florida. South Florida all the way. Do I really need to get into this, MF?
If you're asking me about if they should, if anything about that, no, you don't. I get it. I agree with you. South Florida, nothing more to say. Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Bullock, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I just stepped out for a moment.
Oh, okay. South Florida and East Carolina.
Yeah, South Florida and East Carolina. I got South Florida winning this one all the way. I'm not going to waste any more time on this. I'm just going to move on.
Yeah, let's try to do that on the MEC games if that's okay. Our final high noon game shouldn't be a meh game. It should be an interesting one. In the SEC, we got the number 21 Florida Gators at home, Florida Field at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. They're going to be hosting the Commodores of Vanderbilt. High noon on ESPN. Dave Patch, Greg McElroy, Tom Luginbill, they'll be there. And Florida, a 9-point favorite here. Oh, what a long week. What a long day last Saturday for Vanderbilt. Oh, man. I knew they were going to lose to Bama, but I did not think they were going to get beaten down like they did against Bama. Oh, my goodness. 59-0. Are you kidding me? Wow. So much for having high hope for that team. Yeah. Sure as hell didn't play like it. So I mean, it's got to be Florida. I mean, they're gonna have. They should be having. Well, I mean, they're still dealing with that. All those suspended players. I mean, Antonio Callaway and Jordan Scarlett, who are facing third-degree felony charges brought against them by the University of Florida Police Department. They play without these guys from the beginning of the season. Doesn't change anything on the field, but there will be a change at quarterback. Luke Del Rio is going to be starting for Florida. And of course, they've had a quarterback controversy, with Del Rio, also Austin Appleby, Felipe Franks, and Malik Zaire, formerly for Notre Dame. But it's going to be Del Rio, who threw a game-winning touchdown pass with 43 seconds left to lead Florida to a last-second win over Kentucky. So Vanderbilt, they were riding high after upsetting Kansas State, but then top-ranked Alabama came to town and destroyed the Commodores 59-0. You know what's really sad about that game, guys? Listen to this stat. Vanderbilt had more penalties, 5, than first downs, 3. How sad is that? But nonetheless, they got to. If Vanderbilt's going to have a chance, they have to get running back Ralph Webb going. He is the school's all-time leading rusher. He's only got 169 yards and 2 TDs this season, and he'll be in his hometown of Gainesville on Saturday. Kyle Shermer, the quarterback, he's 4th in the league in passing efficiency, but the Gators give up 7.6 yards a throw and 232 per game through the air. Their pass defense, Vandy's pass defense, has been stingy. They give up 4.4 yards per throw and 117 yards a game. And the Gators, with their new starting quarterback, likely will try to run the ball against the SEC's next to worst rushing defense. Vanderbilt allows 242 rushing yards a game and 5 per carry. Florida's freshman Malik Davis leads the team in rushing, and receiver Kadarius Toney is emerging as an all-purpose threat, including taking direct snaps. So there's nothing for me to say. I got to go with Florida. Florida should win this one. I'll go 30-20 Florida over Vanderbilt. I mean, I think Vanderbilt will play a little bit better than they did against Alabama. But so give me Florida in this one. So MF, I mean, how in the world is Florida going to regroup? I mean, how in the world is Vanderbilt going to regroup after getting humiliated on a national stage, the SEC on CBS, when Bama basically kicked the door down and made themselves at home, 59-0. Ouch.
Yeah, this is not going to be an easy game. But then again, with Florida, you were just one Hail Mary away from being 1-2. So, I mean, the last time you played, you just barely escaped with a victory. So, I mean, it could go either way. Normally, sometimes when you get a big game like that, you get punched in the mouth, and then you have to react and to go in there and to see what happened. But now you're going in the swamp of Gainesville. And, I mean, look, Florida's riding high. After 2 big wins, one against, like Anthony said, the one against Tennessee, massive win. Then you parlay that with a good performance against Kentucky. But look, Vanderbilt had some cupcake teams. They went into a war with one of the best teams in college, and they just got whooped. So maybe that was one of those where Vanderbilt was exposed as an imposter. I don't know. But what about Florida? Like I said, they haven't been very impressive lately either. And even though scoreline said maybe 9.5 to 10, okay, I'll give you that. My final score is 28-17. I give it to Florida. I think they'll rebound and they'll have a good performance. I'm sorry, man, but I don't think Vanderbilt was as good as they're expected it to be. I think they were very lucky that they got the first 3 wins that they did because they were all non-conference games. Now they're going into SEC. They're going into the heart of the animal, and we just saw it happen. Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, Vanderbilt. I mean, I still can believe that they got pounded big time by Alabama. So yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more to say. I mean, you guys pretty much touched on everything. I got Florida winning this one as well. So yeah, so let's just move on to the late afternoon games.
And we start the 3:30. We have 3:30 games. And the first of our 3:30 games, it goes to the Big Ten. Only fitting, considering that's pretty sure that's MF territory on that one. So, all right. Yeah, just bear with me for a minute. I'm trying to figure something out here. Okay. All right. So, actually, I believe Bullock leads off on this one. So, all right. Because I started the Miami and Duke, and that was it. So, yeah, Bullock's going to be starting off this next one. Indiana and Penn State. 3:30 on the Big Ten Network, and on the call for that, as soon as I get my information here, let's get that out of here. All right. I want to say it's the A team for the Big Ten Network. Maybe I'm. Come on, let's load up here. All right. Bear with me. You know this happens a lot. The slow moving stuff. So but while I wait for that to load, I can definitely give you the spread for that one. Penn State is an 18-point favorite, so that's really nothing to be surprised about. Yeah, so reboot it here. All right, so reboot. I mean, Michael Bullock, let me just give it to you while I wait for my information to come up here because it's taking a little bit on my end and I don't have time to wait. So I'll get back to the announcer crew for that one. But Bullock, I mean, as we started off with you, I mean, wow. But before I move on, I got Florida winning that game against Vandy, and so all right, Bullock. The Penn State. I mean, what a game against Iowa, man. I mean, can you say 5-star classic with Shakespearean drama at its finest?
Oh yes, definitely. It was definitely a 5-star classic, and it really really came down to the wire. So yeah, so of course the Lions are 4-0 heading into Saturday's home game against Indiana, and have won 13 of their last 14 games dating to last September. Their only loss in that span was a 52-49 thriller to USC in the Rose Bowl. Bates added that the Lions believe they boast the best offense in the country, while acknowledging there is always room for improvement. That's especially true of running back Saquon Barkley, a league contender for the Heisman Trophy. Barkley was named the Maxwell Award Player of the Week after accumulating a school record 358 all-purpose yards against the Hawkeyes, including 211 rushing yards on 28 attempts. He leads the FBS in all-purpose yards per game. He is 11th in the nation in rushing at nearly 130 yards per game. Barkley also has 23 receptions for a Big Ten leading 335 yards. The Hoosiers beat Georgia Southern 52-17 last week as freshman Morgan Ellison ran 25 times for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Jayshun Harris returned a punt for a touchdown for the second straight week. Allen Indiana first-year coach Tom Allen held out wide receiver Donovan Hale, running back Mike Magette, guard Simon Stepanek, and cornerback Richard Font, mostly for precautionary health reasons, but the coach did not commit on Monday to any of them returning this week. 4 other players, quarterback Richard Legault, cornerback Ashawn Riggins, defensive tackle Nate Hoff, and safety Marceliano Ball, suffered unspecified injuries against Georgia Southern. Legault is expected to play this week, while the other 3 are questionable. Indiana is last in the Big Ten and 102nd among 129 FBS teams in rushing defense. The Hoosiers are next to last in the conference in total defense and 3rd from the bottom in scoring defense. They have yet to log an interception this season, but linebacker Tegray Scales has recorded a team-leading 26 tackles, 2.5 for a loss. Last year, he generated an FBS leading 23.5 tackles for a loss among his 126 stops. The Nittany Lions enjoyed a 579 to 273 yardage advantage against Iowa, but struggled to finish drives. They were inside the 15 on 4 occasions before the decisive march and came away with a single touchdown. McSorley has completed 66.1% of his passes for 1,037 yards and 10 touchdowns. He's been intercepted 3 times. Penn State also leads the FBS in scoring defense, having allowed an average of 8.3 points a game, including shutouts of Akron and Georgia State. Safety Marcus Allen has recorded a team-high 24 tackles as well as a sack and an interception. So, yeah. I got Penn State winning this one. I'm going to say, let me see here. I'm going to say 30. I'm going to say 40-21 is going to be my final score. I think I don't see them having a setback like they did last week, where Iowa almost beat Penn State. So, give me the Nittany Lions to win this one. Flory, what's yours?
Penn State at home. I mean, what can you say about them? I mean, Happy Valley. I mean, Beaver Stadium. I mean, it's going to be a long day for Indiana, because if you haven't seen their previous 3 games at home, all they basically did was just basically pound Akron, Pittsburgh, and whoever, and that other opponent they faced. So, and by the way, the announcer crew, I have it up finally. Brandon Gowden, Glenn Mason, and Elise Menaker will be on the call for the Big Ten Network. So, Penn State, 18-point favorite. So, considering they beat people down at home, I think they'll do the same here. There ain't going to be no miracle touchdown as time expires. They're not going to need that same magic like they had against Iowa. So, Saquon Barkley, Trace McSorley, they're going to go off again. Another left for me to say. Penn State, easy win for them. No question about it. 35-17. How about it, Matt?
Yeah, I got to go with Penn State as well. They really got lucky. They should have lost to Iowa. There's no doubt in my mind in that game. Iowa just could not drop the hammer. They couldn't finish it off. In my mind, they should have won that. Iowa should have beaten Penn State. It was just some unfortunate stuff at the end. Fortunately for them, they won it. But we'll wait and see what happens. But yeah, I'm with you, Anthony, on this one. I got Penn State winning pretty handily on this one. So let's go on to the next game.
I will start it off, and what a game we have coming up. The SEC on CBS. I know we usually go by a top 3 system, but if we had a top 5 system, I would put this one right behind that number 4. I consider this the number 4 game of the week. The number 7, Made Georgia Bulldogs, squaring off against the Tennessee Volunteers at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee. You don't need a dirt sheet. You know who's working this one. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, Allie LaForce, they'll be there. And the Made Georgia Bulldogs, 7.5 to 8-point favorites in this one. Man, I'm going to be real honest with you. One of the 2 toughest games to call for the week. The other one, I'll tell you right now, is our game of the week. And I'll get into that shortly. But although there's only one loss between them, Tennessee and Georgia appear to be headed in different directions. While injuries haven't helped, Volunteers' lackluster offense has fans grumbling about head coach Butch Jones, while the undefeated Bulldogs are suddenly the toast of the SEC East after last week's 31-3 dismantling of Mississippi State. For Tennessee, the game seems crucial to the rest of the season. Victims of a 63-yard Hail Mary loss to Florida 2 weeks ago, Tennessee was taken to the brink last Saturday by a winless UMass team before prevailing 17-13. Many after the game, including Jones, questioned the Volunteers' energy and passion. Georgia's offense is led by true freshman quarterback Jake Fromm, 9 of 12 for 201 yards and 2 TDs against Mississippi State, and the senior backfield combination of Nick Chubb, 371 yards, 6 TDs, and Sony Michel, 194 yards and 2 TDs. Georgia's defense has been making a statement all season. They enter Saturday ranked 4th in total defense in the SEC, 269.5 yards a game, and 3rd in scoring defense, 11.5. They have a dynamic defensive front seven, led up front by veterans John Atkins and Trenton Thompson. Inside linebacker Roquan Smith led the team in tackles last season and has a team high at 27 this year. Outside linebacker Lorenzo Carter, 3 sacks this year, and David Bellamy spearheaded a smothering effort in a 20-19 win at Notre Dame on September 9. Georgia kept Mississippi State quarterback Nick Fitzgerald out of the end zone last week. Tennessee running back John Kelly, who leads the SEC with an average of 112.5 rushing yards a game, will try to find holes in the Bulldogs' defense. Quentin Dormady remains the starting QB, although Jones turned to freshman Jarrett Garantano for a spark against UMass. Garantano was 2 of 5 for -3 yards. Georgia will have redemption on its mind Saturday. Tennessee won last season's meeting on a 43-yard heave into the end zone from Joshua Dobbs. That 34-31 decision was emblematic of the recent history of the series. The last 6 games between Tennessee and Georgia have been settled by 8 points or less, including 3 of the last 4 decided by a field goal. Oh, Lord, this is tough. Very, very tough. But for Georgia, I think Georgia is the toast of the SEC East. They know how to win these big games. And even though it's at Neyland Stadium and it's a very tough place to win, and I know Tennessee is going to give them major fits, I just think Georgia's the better team right now, and I think that they're going to prove that. My final score, 28-21, Tennessee over Georgia. Should be a hell of a game. I should say Georgia over Tennessee, rather. I'm sorry. So that's all I can say there. It's got to be Georgia here, but I would not be surprised at all if Tennessee wins. They have what it takes to pull an upset. So 28-21, Georgia wins. MF, number 4 game of the week, as far as I'm concerned. Georgia, Tennessee. You know the history. I think we're going to have another classic on Saturday afternoon.
I'm about to upset a lot of Tennessee fans. You guys are struggling. You guys are not playing so great. Kelly's all right. Dormady has been a little inconsistent. Nick Chubbs, Godwin, and Weems has been unbelievable for Georgia. That defense is stout. They're strong. I'm sorry, Anthony. I disagree with you. Not over the fact that Georgia's going to win. I disagree with you that it's going to be a close game. I'm actually calling for a blowout in Tennessee. My final score is 35-13. Georgia puts it on the Volunteers. Nothing more to say. Anthony Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I got Georgia winning this one as well, but I hate to say it, but I'm going to agree with Michael Fletcher. I mean, I totally disagree with you that, Floria, that this is going to be a close game. This is going to be a blowout. I mean, Tennessee is not good. Georgia, I mean, with the weapons, especially Chubb, it's just going to be too much for Tennessee to handle. Even though Tennessee is at home, it's not going to be even good enough to help them out. So 35-10, Georgia is going to go into Neyland Stadium and squash the Volunteers. Nothing more to say, Florio, it's yours.
Man, oh man, let it be a close game. I would love to see I would love to see these guys get proven wrong here. Hopefully you guys get proven wrong, and we can.
Not gonna happen
next week.
You're the one that's gonna end up with egg in your face.
I'll take it if I have to, but we'll see. I mean, it ain't over till it's over, as they say. So, well, we may have a disagreement about Georgia and Tennessee, but here's a game that we know is going to surely be a blowout here. I definitely know this will be a blowout here. It's going to be the number 17 Louisville Cardinals at home at Papa John's Cardinals Stadium. They're going to be hosting the Racers of Murray State. This game will be on the ACC network, and Wes Durham and Rebecca Capel will be there in Louisville, and I don't have a spread here, so but you would have to imagine Louisville has got to be an overwhelming favorite. So MF, I mean, we may disagree about Georgia and Tennessee. I think it's going to be a close one. You and Bullet think it's going to be a blowout, but I think we're all in agreement here. This one should be an easy cakewalk for Louisville.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It is definitely for Louisville. I got no doubt about that. I do believe Louisville is going to win the game. There's really nothing more else to say about that. But, oh my God. Wow. All right. Anthony, I don't know if we should cut in. Something just happened in Green Bay and Chicago. Oh my God. Holy cow. I don't know. Holy cow, this is scary. I don't know if we should cut for the moment. All right, they're going on break.
Yeah, I just saw it too. I just saw the vicious hit. Oh,
wow.
They're bringing out the stretcher.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just move on. So, Mike Bullock, it's yours. Louisville, yeah, in an easy victory.
Yeah, I got an easy victory for Louisville as well. So, nothing more to say. Let's just move on.
Murray State, welcome to the Lamar Jackson Show. That's all there is to say on that. It's going to be the Lamar Jackson Show, hands down. So, okay, next up, and Michael Bullock gets to lead off on this one. Guess who's back in the top 25, guys? And I couldn't be any happier, and I couldn't be any more delighted about it. My number 22, Notre Dame, Fighting Irish at Notre Dame Stadium. They're going to be hosting the Red Hawks of Miami of Ohio, 5 o'clock on the NBC Sports Network. And it's actually going to be Paul Burmeister. He's going to be sitting in for Mike Tirico. Mike Tirico, of course, covering the President's Cup in golf. So Paul Burmeister will be working the game with Doug Flutie and Catherine Tappan. Notre Dame, huge favorites in this one. Notre Dame, oh, I love this. Notre Dame is a 21 to 21.5 point favorite. Michael Bullock, I know how much you love to get into those detailed reports, but you're not going to need it for this one.
Yeah, no need for this one, but I'm just going to make it short and sweet. Notre Dame's going to win this one. They're going to win it big over Miami, so Miami of Ohio, I should say. Nothing else to say. I'm just going to pass on to you.
Oh, oh boy, am I elated about this? I mean, when I saw Notre Dame was back in the rankings, the only two words that came to my mind were wonderful and delightful. Yes. I mean, Notre Dame is back in the top 25. I honestly didn't think they were going to have a sniff of the top 25 this year. I thought it was going to be an average and mediocre year, but one unfortunate defensive bounce away from possibly being unbeaten and maybe even higher in the polls. But that last second loss to Georgia, oof, that one still hurts. But they've rebounded. Oh boy, have they rebounded. I mean, easy win over Boston College. That was to be expected. As far as last week was concerned, I honestly thought they were going to get more of a game from Michigan State, especially in East Lansing. But Notre Dame went in, they kicked the door down and made themselves at home there too. 38-18. Wow, unbelievable. Brandon Wimbush continuing to impress. I mean, man, oh man. And now we have a meh opponent coming in. So I think we're going to make it 3 in a row for the Irish, especially at home. 3 touchdown favorites. Oh, yeah. It's Notre Dame all day. It's going to be the Brandon Wimbush show in South Bend. Big Ben, the only way Miami, Ohio would even have a puncher's chance is if Ben Roethlisberger was walking through that door. Well, guess what? He ain't. So Notre Dame all day. How about it, MF?
The only thing I can say about this game is as long as Notre Dame does not take Miami of Ohio too lightly and actually play their game like they supposed to do, then they'll win this game pretty handily. And to think about it, Anthony, they were a couple of points away from being 4-0. Because if it wasn't for that big mistake towards the end against Georgia, they could be 4-0 right now, and who knows? We might be talking about Notre Dame being a playoff team at this moment. So, I mean, right now, they're looking good. You know, they're handling the business that they need to handle. Miami of Ohio they're a 2-2 team, which is, I guess, all right. Well, actually, they're in the conference, and they're actually in first place right now. So, I mean, don't consider them slouches, I'll say. And they do got a good quarterback in Regland, who's got 8 touchdowns to 2 INTs. And they got decent running. Young and Smith are pretty good, not great. Gardner's the one you got to watch out for because he's got almost 300 yards receiving. And Smith as well because they got 2 touchdowns apiece. But, you know, Wimbush, like you said, Anthony, is a double threat. He's already got 7 touchdowns on the ground, 3 through the air, so he's definitely a dangerous player. St. Brown's been amazing. Mack has been playing great for game right now. So obviously you're gonna say Notre Dame is probably should win this game. But you know, at the end of the day, it's not how it's come out. It's basically, you know, you gotta see how it plays out. What type of offense are we going to get from them? What are we going to look for? I mean, the rushing for Notre Dame has been the best. Without a doubt, they are the 13th best rushing attack in all of the nation. 13th in the nation. Passing game? Well, okay, how many Division I teams there are? Because they're 218th. Yikes. And then their total yards is 63rd. Not bad if you're dealing with over 200 plus. But here's the thing I would say about Notre Dame. Yes, you're doing good. Yes, you're doing great. But here's the one thing I would say about the one thing I would say, or I would say for Notre Dame, is that yes, you got Miami of Ohio. You got North Carolina next. But after the bye week on the 21st, you run into USC. Don't get ahead of yourselves, gentlemen. That's all I'm saying. Don't get ahead.
Do your job.
Do your business. Do your job. And win. Don't think about North Carolina.
Nope.
About USC. You do that, if you start thinking about down the line, you're gonna get upsetted.
Exactly.
And this Miami of Ohio, they could easily become like that Boston College of '93. Nobody gave them a chance, and they pulled off one of the biggest upsets in college football. When they knocked off Notre Dame, incidentally, who came off a big win knocking off number 1 Florida State the week before. Could history repeat itself? Most likely not. But is it possible? It's very much possible. Don't get ahead of yourself, Notre Dame. Do your job. Get it done. I got you guys winning. Nothing more to say. Let's move on.
And I'll say it like this. When it comes to that SC game, you know how I feel about the SC game as a Notre Dame fan. The same way MF and Bullet feels about Michigan and Ohio State.
Oh, that thing is circled in red with blood, not with a pen, with blood.
Darn tootin'. That's all there is to say on that. But we'll get into that in a few weeks on our October 19th edition of College Football Thursday. Tune in October 19th because I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being our game of the week. We'll see. So, or one of the games of the week. So that's down the road. Let's focus now on this week at hand. 8 games left, so let's get into it. 6 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. This is our number 3 game of the week right here. Out of the SEC. We got the number 24 Mississippi State Bulldogs squaring off against the number 13 Auburn Tigers, Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn. And Dave Fleming is going to be sitting in for Steve Levy because Steve Levy worked the game tonight. Dave Fleming is going to be working with his crew of Brian Greasy and Todd McShay. And we have Auburn as a 9-point favorite. So, oh boy. Mississippi State, boy howdy. How they're even still in the ranking is beyond me. I mean, after getting humiliated by Georgia 31-3, I feel for you guys. The respect that Mississippi State gained by beating LSU 2 weeks ago was diminished significantly. Tigers, who are coming off their most complete performance of this young season. It's the 3rd straight game against a ranked SEC opponent for Mississippi State, for a Mississippi State team humbled by last week's struggling at the hands of Georgia. Mississippi Nick Fitzgerald had just 83 yards and 80 yards of total offense. Wasn't pretty, but Mississippi State can get right back on track with a big win Saturday. Auburn has rebounded from its disappointing loss to number 2 Clemson in week 2 with back-to-back wins, including last week's 51-14 rout of Missouri. Running back Kerryon Johnson returned from missing 2 games with a hamstring injury to score 5 touchdowns against Missouri. And Auburn's defense put together another dominant performance. As long as Auburn's defense maintains its current form, the Tigers should always have a chance. Auburn is 4th in the nation in total defense, surrendering just 236 yards a game, and will provide a stern test for a Mississippi State offense that lost the battle of the trenches against Georgia. To make things tougher on Mississippi State, Auburn is expecting to get all SEC running back Cameron Petway back this week. Petway sat out the Missouri game with an ankle injury, but head coach Gus Malzahn said he practiced on Sunday and should be back on the field Saturday. Even without Petway, they still rushed for 263 yards against Missouri and put together their most balanced offensive performance of the season. You know what? I think that's all you need to know. I got to go with Auburn. And by doing so, you know it's going to put a smile on Lindsey McCormick's face because you know the beautiful Lindsey McCormick, our friend Lindsey McCormick, who is of course an Auburn alum. After that putrid and pedestrian performance by Mississippi State against Georgia, number 1, why is this team still ranked? And number 2, is there any real reason for us to take them serious? No.
If you're asking me both those questions, Anthony, I'm going to say this. Number 1, for your thing, I don't understand why Mississippi State is still ranked. That's for 1.
Good.
Well, I mean, I guess I can agree with that. I can't argue that. I mean, maybe there are some other teams that are worthy of being in the top 25. I mean, okay, I'll give you that. But the thing is that as much as an embarrassing loss as it was, you also got to factor in who else was good enough or who else was worthy enough who's outside of the top 25 to get there. Plus, look at the road and the detail from where it was to where it is now. I mean, okay, I'll give you that, no arguments. As far as the other thing goes, can we take them seriously? I mean, look, any team can have a bad night on any given week. Maybe Mississippi State had a bad night against Georgia. Maybe they turned it around and beat up on Auburn. I know that's not going to make Lindsey McCormick happy if that happens, but I'll openly admit it. I don't think it's gonna. But that's the one thing that we need to address. And that's the one thing that does open the door. For me, I got Auburn winning.
I do too.
So I got really nothing more to say. If I interrupted, I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it.
I didn't know if you were done or not. So I didn't know if you were tossing it to me or not. But
Hold on, the bird is wrapping up. But.
All right. Well, I got Auburn, so
yeah.
Go ahead, Anthony.
No worries. Let's get a quick thought from you on Mississippi State and Auburn.
Yeah, I got Auburn winning this one as well. I mean, I think this is going to be a close one, but I think in the end Auburn's just too good, and yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So let's just move on.
Yeah, I got Auburn winning as well. I think Mississippi State will have a bounce back performance, but I just think Auburn is the better team right now, and so I got to go with Auburn. So, oh boy. I probably would say maybe 30. I'll go like 35-24 or something like that. So I got Auburn in that one. So, all right. Bullet you, Mike. Let's move on to the next game. I believe in that. Yeah, it is MF. 7 Eastern on ESPNU. It's going to be the number 25 LSU Tigers at home, Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge. They're going to be hosting the Trojans of Troy. Yeah. And that game will be on ESPNU. We got Clay Matvick and Kirk Morrison. They'll be on the call for that. And LSU a 20.5 to 21-point favorite. Nothing left to say. MF, it's got to be LSU, right?
It's got to be LSU. I don't think there's no doubt about it. I think they're going to win this game pretty handily, pretty easily. Troy might give them a little bit of some fits early in the game because they are 3-1 as well, but this is a different animal, and they're playing against a really good team. So I'll probably say it'll be a very interesting matchup. Nothing more to say, but I'll give it – I agree with you, guys. I'm going to give this to LSU to win pretty handily. Mike Bullock, small thought, but I got LSU.
Yeah, I got LSU winning this one as well, pretty handily. I mean, Troy, like you said, Troy may give them some fits early, but in the end they'll pull away easily. So nothing else to say. Flory, what's yours?
Yeah, it's LSU, no doubt about it. Dice should have a huge game, and really, there's really nothing left to say on that. LSU a 3-touchdown favorite, so we're not going to go too detailed into that one. So it's LSU. All right, 7:30 kickoff on the Big Ten Network. We got the number 11 Ohio State Buckeyes squaring off against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, High Point Solution Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey. This game will be on the Big Ten Network, and on the call for that one is going to be Kevin Kugler with Matt Millen and Lisa Byington. That's the A team for the Big Ten Network, by the way. They're going to be working that Ohio State Rutgers game. And Ohio State, a 28 to 29 point favorite. Michael Bullock, again, I say to you, no need for a detailed report. I think we all know who's going over here.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely no need for it. It's Ohio State all the way. There's really nothing more to say. Flory, what's yours?
Rutgers, welcome to the JT Barrett Show. Do I have to go any further? All Buckeyes, all the time. I know Emmett doesn't like to hear that, but I'm sure he's going to have to agree with it anyway right now.
I got to agree with that. Ohio State's just too strong. And plus, the Scarlet Knights, I don't know. Every time that they play on the road, it's never good. Or I should say at home, they're never good. But when they play a Big Ten powerhouse, they always end up getting crushed. So, yeah, this should be at least by a 30, maybe even 40 points. I hate to say this. Ohio State, easy victory for them. Nothing more to say. Anthony, let's move on.
Okay. Let me just check my notes here. Okay. Now it's time for the game of the week. And I get to start it off. Oh, boy. Get ready, boys. 8 o'clock on ABC. The ABC Saturday night game of the week. It's our game of the week. The number 2, Clemson Tigers, squares off against the number 12, Virginia Tech Hokies, Lane Stadium, Worsham Field in Plattsburgh, Virginia. You don't need a dirt sheet. You know who's working it. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Maria Taylor. They're going to be at Virginia Tech for this humongous ACC matchup. And a game that came out of the radar, honestly. Let's check the spread. It's Clemson by 7.5 against Virginia Tech. Oh, man. There's no doubt about it, guys. This is the game of the week right here. Number 2 against number 12. A difficult early season schedule doesn't get any easier for Clemson on Saturday when it visits Virginia Tech. Clemson will put their school record 11-game road winning streak on the line against the Hokies team looking to rejoin the ACC's elite. Clemson dispatched a gauntlet of foes over the first month of the season, beating number 13 Auburn at home and number 17 Louisville before surviving a tough home clash with Boston College 34-7. Tigers scored 27 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to break up a contest that was much closer than expected, so I'll give you that bullet. The defending national champions pay their first visit to Blacksburg since beating the Hokies 23-3 on October 1st of 2011. That game signaled a shift in the hierarchy in the ACC. Virginia Tech, winner of 4 ACC championships from 2004 to 2010, was on its way down, while Clemson was on its way up, winning 3 ACC championships and the 2016 national championship since then. The Tigers beat the Hokies in the ACC title game in 2011 and 16. Last year's title game result was particularly agonizing for Tech. The Hokies were 23 yards away from reaching the end zone and tying or winning the game in an eventual 42-35 loss. Tech has won 5 straight since that loss and dispatched its first 4 opponents this season in convincing fashion, starting with a big victory over rival West Virginia and proceeding with 3 straight blowouts over Delaware, East Carolina, and Old Dominion. The Hokies have gained notice with their early season success. They have reached their highest rank in the AP poll since 2011. And Saturday's matchup with the defending national champs has created substantial buzz. ESPN's College Game Day, the popular Saturday morning traveling show, will pay its first visit to Blacksburg in more than 10 years, and the 8 p.m. Eastern game will be televised nationally by ABC. The Tigers are the highest-ranked team to visit Lane Stadium since number 1 Ohio State in the 2015 season opener. This will be the first matchup of 2 AP Top 12 teams in Blacksburg since September 26th of 2009, when then number 11 Virginia Tech toppled then number 9 Miami 31-7 in the rain. The Hokies will have their work cut out for them if they expect to pull off an upset this time against the ultra-talented Tigers. Clemson's stout defense is ranked 3rd nationally in fewest yards and points allowed, and its 17 sacks are tied for 2nd most in the country behind Michigan's 18. The Tigers' defense kept Saturday's game close against Boston College before their offense came through with an avalanche of points in the final quarter. Clemson has a lot of new faces on offense this year, including starting quarterback Kelly Bryant, a junior who has proven to be a handful as a passer, 68% of completion percentage, and 268 yards, team leading 7 touchdowns. The Tigers averaged 272 rushing yards a game thanks to a bevy of contributing ball carriers. Freshman running back Travis Etienne leads the team with 292 yards rushing, but he is one of 3 Clemson players with at least 249 yards on the ground. With 2 shutouts in its first 4 games, Virginia Tech has shown the ability to slow opposing offenses, particularly on the ground. The Hokies' last 3 opponents have rushed for 211 yards combined, and Tech has yet to give up a rushing touchdown on the season. Offensively, the Hokies continue to progress with redshirt freshman quarterback Josh Jackson, who has completed 65.2% of his passes for 1,127 yards, 11 TDs, and only 1 pick. His 177.4 efficiency rating ranks 8th nationally. Tech has excelled against the likes of Delaware, ECU, and ODU the last 3 weeks. They'll face a much tougher challenge Saturday night. Yeah, no doubt about it. So it's very simply put, this is the toughest game to call right here. You remember Lamar Jackson in check. I'm very Meth, are you there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. The thing absolutely froze up. So I'm gonna say this. Yes, this is gonna be the game of the week. This is the most highly anticipated battle of the week, and I know there's gonna be a lot of excitement, to say the very least, going into this battle. For me, I gotta say, I'm gonna go with Clemson. I think Clemson's gonna get the job done. I just think they're the better team. I think they're gonna win this game, even though I think it's gonna be a really close battle. I'm with you. I'm gonna go with Clemson. This is gonna be a great game. 28-24, Clemson wins. Mike Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I agree. I got them. Yeah, I got Clemson winning this one. I mean, I think it's definitely going to be a close one. I mean, Virginia Tech, I think it's definitely going to feed off that home crowd. But in the end, Clemson's just too good. So uh, I'm going to say 27-24. Clemson beats Virginia Tech. So what do you say? Let's just move on.
Yeah, we're rolling here, guys. We got a few more to go before we get to the power poll. We're down to our final 4 matchups, so let's make the most of them. But we do have another easy one here. Another 8 o'clock kickoff. This will be on the Pac-12 network. The number 6 Washington Huskies squaring off against the Beavers of Oregon State, Reser Stadium in Oregon State. Game will be on the Pac-12 network. We got Roxy Bernstein, Anthony Haran, and Lewis Johnson. They will be on the call for that one. And Washington, a 26.5 to 27-point favorite against Oregon State. MF, I think it's going to be another easy one for Jake Browning, Miles Gaskin, and company.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that one. I got Washington winning this one, pretty much going away. I got nothing else to say, so Mike Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I got Washington winning this one in a big way as well. So, Flory, what's yours?
Yeah, it's Washington, no doubt about it. Browning and Gaskin, they're gonna run roughshod over Oregon State in Corvallis. So Nothing to say on that. Washington going away. All right. Now we got an interesting one coming up here. Our third and final 8:00 game. This won't be on Fox. The number 15 Oklahoma State Cowboys squaring off against the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Jones 18. This game will be on Fox, and you know who's working that Fox Saturday night game? Our favorite, Chris Johnson, along with Staff. They will be there. And Oklahoma State, a 10.5-point favorite against Texas Tech. And Michael Bullock, we thought Oklahoma State was going to handle business against TCU. But whoa, what happened to Oklahoma State last week? They got humiliated by TCU at home.
Yeah, I don't think anybody saw this coming. And I think, in my opinion, Oklahoma State took TCU too lightly, and yeah, look what happened. Yeah, and now they basically really do need to pick themselves up after that loss to TCU. And of course, for Texas Tech, they're coming off of a 27-24 victory over Houston. So yeah, so Oklahoma State and Texas Tech, of course, they'll be facing each other on Saturday night as the Cowboys will attempt to extend their 8-game winning streak in the series. Oklahoma State coach Mike Gundy clearly hopes not too much has changed. Red Raiders linebacker Dakota Allen earned Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week honors after he produced 12 tackles, a pair of quarterback hurries, and an interception against Houston. Texas Tech coach Cliff Kingsbury understands that just because his defense has been able to make stops and create turnovers in non-conference play, the Red Raiders have to keep improving under third-year coordinator David Gibbs as Big 12 play begins. Fittingly, for a couple of schools whose mascots are six-shooter taunting Western characters, the Oklahoma State-Texas Tech matchup has annually been a shootout. The Cowboys prevailed 45-44 last season to continue that trend. The winning team has scored at least 45 points in 8 of the last 10 contests. That goes back to 2007 when Oklahoma State won 49-45. The next year, then number 2 Texas Tech defeated the 9th-ranked Cowboys 56-20, but that was the Red Raiders' last win in the series. Despite Oklahoma State's loss to the Horned Frogs last week, Kingsbury can see that the Cowboys still have the potential to shake his team's newfound confidence on defense. Quarterback play is expected to be at a high level. Texas Tech quarterback Nick Shemanek ranks 3rd nationally with 406 passing yards per game, one spot ahead of Oklahoma State's Mason Rudolph, who was thrown for 383 yards per game. Rudolph has thrown 13 touchdown passes in 4 contests compared to Shemanek's 11 in 3 games. Last week, TCU instructed its safeties to play back in order to take away Oklahoma State's deep passes. That figured to open potential run lanes, but running back Justice Hill never really got on track, averaging just 4.1 yards on his 102-yard output. All-American receiver James Washington is averaging a stunning 27.4 yards per catch. For Texas Tech, the receiver to watch is Kiki Kuti, who has 28 receptions for 446 yards and 4 touchdowns through 3 games. Oklahoma State dropped 9 places in this week's poll. So, yeah, I think this is going to be another high-scoring affair here. But I think Oklahoma State's going to bounce back. I'm going to say 45-38. Oklahoma State beats Texas Tech, of course, led by their quarterback, Mason Rudolph. So, nothing more to say. Flory, what's yours?
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Oklahoma State here. You know they're angry and embarrassed after that putrid and pedestrian performance against TCU at home. A game we considered the game of the week, and it was anything but that. I mean, TCU, like I said, kicked the door down and made themselves at home in Stillwater. So, and who knows? will it be enough to get TCU in our rankings? It could. We'll have to wait and find out in the short. But nonetheless, I got to go with Oklahoma State to bounce back. Mason Rudolph and company. I'm leaning more towards 45-35 as my final score. So give me Oklahoma State to bounce back after that humiliating loss to TCU. So MF, does Oklahoma State bounce back, or does Texas Tech do the unthinkable and pull a TCU on them?
Sorry about that. I'm going to say that I'm with you guys. I'm going to go with Oklahoma State as well. I just think that the bitter taste in the mouth, that little embarrassing loss that they took last week, they're going to be spitting fire. Even though the Red Raiders of Texas Tech is undefeated, they really haven't faced anybody legitimate as of yet. So now they're going to get a major test against one of the powerhouses in the Big 12. Can they match that? I don't think so. Give me Oklahoma State to win in a shootout. 38 to 27. Anthony, let's move on.
Okay. We got 2 games left. This will be a 9 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. The number 1 team in all the land, the Alabama Crimson Tide, back home at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. They're going to be hosting the Rebels of Ole Miss. This game will be on ESPN. The B team of ESPN will be on the call for this one. Joe Tessitore, Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe, and Alabama, a 27 to 28 point favorite. Yeah. Did you see what Alabama did to Vanderbilt? Anyone? They didn't do much. All they did was just go into Vanderbilt and shut out Vanderbilt 59 to nothing. So what are they going to have in store for Ole Miss at home? More of the same, I think. I don't think it's going to be that steep, but I do think Alabama is going to have another easy time here. Jalen Hurts, huge game for him. Ridley and the offense, and Scarborough, the defense. Roll Tide roll. Any more words of Jason Hickson ball? That's all there is to say on that. Roll Tide roll. How about it, MF?
Any more words of my boy Stephen A. Smith? Roll Tide! Alabama wins big. Bullock, yours.
Roll Tide roll. Alabama all the way. Nothing else to say.
1 game left, guys. Our final game of the week. 10:30 kickoff on the CBS Sports Network. The number 19 San Diego State Aztecs at home at SDCCU Stadium will be hosting the Huskies of Northern Illinois. CBS Sports Network will have it, and it's going to be, I believe, Dave Ryan's crew on the call. Yes, Dave Ryan with Corey Chavis and Melanie Collins. And the spread favors San Diego State by 10 to 10.5. MF, how about those Aztecs?
You know what? They're the darlings. They are absolute darlings right now in this league, man. A lot of people have been really loving what they've been doing lately. I got nothing bad to say about what they've been doing. Of course, I probably will say that they are definitely the pick to win. Anthony, I think you said it a couple of weeks ago. They're starting to become that little Boise State team that's really catching the eye of everybody in college football. Now, we'll see what happens, but I'm with you on this one. I think San Diego State, they're going to get the job done. I got them winning this one pretty handily, so nothing more to say. Mike Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I got San Diego State winning this one. I'm gonna say my final score is gonna be 28 to. I'm gonna go 31-14 is gonna be my final score. So nothing else to say. Florio, what's yours?
Yeah, it's San Diego State, man. I mean, MF, you made a great point. I mean, you heard what I said on one of our past shows. I did say that I was very high on San Diego State, especially You know, I think they're the next Boise State. I really do. Boise State's on the decline. San Diego State's on the rise. No doubt about it. And there's no question about it. Rashad Penny, I expect another huge game from that young man, as well as Christian Chapman, the quarterback. I think he's going to have a huge game as well. So really nothing left for me to say on that. So, I mean, Northern Illinois could give them some fits early, but I just think San Diego State is too strong in this one. So I'm going with my darling Aztecs one more time. So so that's really all there is to say on that. So so nothing left to say except it's Powerball time, guys. And I'm gonna tell you what, we got some well, not too many shakeups, but I will say there is a new addition, especially after the performance they put in a week ago. So just well, before I get my power ranking spreadsheet up, I don't need it because I already know who my number 10 is, because they're the same team I had at 10 last week because they had a bye week. It's Wisconsin. So they were on a bye last week, coming off of an easy win over BYU. They were off last week. They got Northwestern next. They should handle that one and live it just fine. So I would love to say Wisconsin 10. How about it, MF?
Yeah, agreed. Wisconsin number 10. Under our new rules now, when it comes to college, even though there's a bye, that does not affect. You could be affected by the bye, depending on how all the other teams does. But because there wasn't really a team that really stood out that knocked them off the perch, we got to keep them there. So this is one of the rare times where the bye week actually benefit. And yes, my number 10 is indeed the Wisconsin Badgers. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yep. My number 10 is the Wisconsin Badgers as well. So there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on to number 9. Fletch starts us off.
All right, number 9. Well, they're here now, and they're gonna be here for at least the next week, guys, because it looks like they are on bye. My number 9, the TCU Horned Frogs. Welcome to the party, boys. Definitely looked good, looked solid. I like what I saw from TCU. They're 4-0 right now on this young season, but like I said, they got a bye this week, so unless something kooky happens, they should hold the number 9 spot. I got nothing wrong with this. I like them. So TCU, welcome to the party, boys. Mike Bullock, I give it to you.
All right. Yeah, my number 9. I'm gonna say my number 9 is TCU as well. So yeah, Fletch pretty much touched on everything. So there's really nothing more to say. So I'm just gonna toss it up to Florio.
Michael Fletcher already spoiled who my new addition was, and yes, that's the welcome new addition. Horned Frogs of Texas Christian University, TCU in short, the alma mater of one LaDainian Tomlinson, and I'm sure he was grinning from ear to ear after what he saw against. I mean, they went in there, they kicked the door down, made themselves at home in Stillwater, and man, what a great game for Kenny Hill and company. I mean, just a very impressive win. That's the most impressive win they've had in a long time. I mean, they were, a couple of years ago, they were that darling team in the Big 12. And, well, Kenny Hill didn't do much. It was Anderson, the running back, 160 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, he was the driving force. Anderson, that's the young man, and very much impressed. I had him going into even if they weren't in, the actual rankings, the actual AP, we would have put them in there anyway. So up next for them, well, they're on bye, and then they got a pretty decent schedule here. I don't really see any tough games for them. Real game will be their next game against West Virginia. That will be a tough one. So we'll see how they handle Sir against that. So So it's TCU at number 9, no doubt about it. So TCU, the new team in. I do have to mention Oklahoma State is the dud team. I had them in there last week, but they're gone now. So no question about it. So let's move on to number 8, and it is the Michigan Wolverines. Had a bit of a rough time with Purdue, and I'm going to be real honest with you guys. All these picks, with the exception of the number 1 team, and by the way, I have a new number 1 team this week. No doubt about it, number 1. And I'll be shocked if you guys don't agree with me on it. The rest of the teams going forward, I believe, are going to be in there a little bit lower than they were previously because of having tough times against easy opponents. And Michigan had a tough time with Purdue. I mean, Purdue, this has been their theme all season. Clunky first halves, but then in the second half, they turn on the afterburners and they get going. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, Florida, sloppy first half, great second half. Same thing against Cincinnati, same thing against the Air Force, and yet again against Purdue. Thankfully, they have a bye to work out the kinks. But next week, my friends, October 7th, they're at home against Michigan State. Michigan State, of course, got embarrassed at home by Notre Dame. And now Michigan gets the feast on them. We'll see. And you all remember the last time Michigan State and Michigan played. We'll get into that next week. But we'll see. You know where I'm going with that. Let's just say 2 years ago. I'm not going that far. I'll stir it up next week. Not tonight. We'll talk about it next week because that will be one of our games of the week. By the way, I believe it's the Saturday night game of the week on ABC next week. I think Chris Fowler and company will be there. So have fun. So for now, they're number 8. They'll probably stay that way until next week. So choose my words carefully. I don't want to get crucified by MF because I've been in that doghouse enough. He'll go cerebral fiber on me. No need for it. I'm just going to pass it off to MF.
Number 8 is Michigan. Yes, I'll give you that. I was really annoyed with the way that they were playing lately. So, yes, no doubt about it. They really have to play better. No doubt about it. So, nothing more. Let's go on. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah. I got Michigan as my number 8 as well. So let's just move on to number 7, and Fletch starts us off.
Maine and Georgia Bulldogs. What is there to say? I just think right now that they were a good performance, a solid performance. Nothing more to say, Mike Bullock. It's yours.
And I agree with Fletch. My number 7 is the Maine and Georgia Bulldogs as well. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to be said. So, Flory, what's yours?
Unanimous, Georgia, 31-3, easy win over Mississippi State. And now, we had a little disagreement about this earlier. MF and Bullock think they're going to have an easy time with Tennessee. I think they'll win, but I think it's going to be closer than these guys think. That's all I'm saying. Look at the last few meetings between those two. That's all I can say. So, Georgia is my number 7. No question about it. So, upward and onward. Number 6, we got the Washington Huskies. And on pace for another great year. I mean, they're dominating. Another easy win over Colorado. I mean, I thought Colorado was going to give them some fits, especially with the game being in Boulder, Colorado. I just cannot believe Washington had another easy time with them like they did in the Pac-12 title game last year. Unreal. They got an easy one coming up against Oregon State. And then they got a trap game, and then the next one after that will be a trap game against Cal at home. But we'll see what happens there. So upward and onward for Jake Browning and Myles Gaskin and company. So nothing left to say. Washington Huskies, number 6. And Matt, I mean, how about Washington? I mean, I can't believe they handled Colorado. I thought Colorado was going to give them some fits, especially after that Pac-12 title game last year.
The thing is, Anthony, is that I think Washington might be even better than they were a year ago. Remember, they are a playoff team last year. And even though they were the number 4 team, and I know a lot of people really felt that maybe they deserved to be there. Some people felt they didn't deserve to be there. There's always that debate, but we'll get into that on another day. But they looked really good. They looked really solid. They deserve to be where they're at. So nothing more to say. So number 6, Washington. Bullock's yours. Well,
Oh, I'm right here. Yeah.
all right.
Who'd you have at number 6?
Washington.
Yeah, I had Washington at number 6 too. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Let's just move on to number 5.
USC. The Trojans looked really good against California. Not as good as we thought they were going to be. Well, I think we all were kind of expecting them to do like a complete and utter blowout. They held them in check. They did a good performance. It wasn't the most performance to say the very least, but it was a good victory for them nonetheless. SC keeps rolling. Nothing more to say about that. Mike Bullock, I give it to you.
USC Trojans are my number 5 as well. So, Florio, it's yours.
SC at number 5, and oh boy, do they have a tough one tomorrow night, guys, at Washington State, our number 2 game of the week, and oh boy, they're gonna be in for a long one there. And if they can get past that one, then they'll have an easy one at home against Oregon State. And then their next test will be on October 14th when they host Utah. When Utah comes into the Coliseum. And then, of course, the big one that I'm personally looking forward to, the one that I've got circled in blood red on my calendar, Notre Dame at Notre Dame Stadium under the lights, October 21. Oh, boy, is that going to be hella fun for me to watch. So, and hopefully the outcome goes my way, but with my luck, it probably won't. So that's all I can say on that. So SC is number 5. So let's move on, guys. Number 4. Penn State Nittany Lions. Oh, man. As MF said earlier, they should have lost against Iowa. But they got very, very lucky at the end. A lucky game-winning touchdown pass by Trace McSorley. So McSorley found his man at the end. As time expired, it made Chris Fowler go nuts. And that's always a good thing. 21-19, they barely escaped Iowa with a win. They got a couple of easy games coming up here. They got Indiana at home. They should have no trouble with them. Potential trap game against Northwestern on the 7th. The 14th, they got a bye week. And then on October 21, Michigan comes to town. Ooh, that's going to have major power poll implications there, my friends. We've already got 2 huge game of the week contenders for our October 19th show, guys. USC and Notre Dame, and Michigan and Penn State. Although I'm thinking Michigan and Penn State is probably going to be the bigger deal. So there's no question about that. But that's a few weeks away. But for right now, the Nittany Lions are number 4. And MF, you said it. You said they should have lost to Iowa.
Even though I said they should have lost to Iowa, I felt they should have lost. They were dead to rights. I don't even know how you can even say it, man. But they did it. They won it. Congratulations. Well done. Nothing more to say. This was an amazing game. This was an incredible battle. And, you got to say it. Hats off to Penn State not losing their heads and winning the game like they did. They easily could have wilted away and lost that, but they didn't. Big win for them. Now, like you said, now they got a big work coming up. So we'll see what happens. Mike Bullock, I give it to you.
Yes, number 4 is the Penn State Nittany Lions. So, yeah, nothing more for me to say. So let's move on to number 3, and Fletch starts us off.
Oklahoma Sooners, man. They've been playing really good lately. They're still looking strong. A couple of weeks ago, they were the number 1 team in the power rankings, but they're still consistent. They're doing their handling their business, doing what they need to do. So I got really nothing bad to say. I like what I've seen from them. I really hope that they keep up the good work, and there's really nothing more. So, yes, my number 3 is Oklahoma. Bullock, go.
Boomer Sooner. The Oklahoma Sooners are my number 3. I mean, going into this season, we didn't know how this team was going to be without with Bob Stoops no longer being their coach, but so far so good for them. There's really nothing more to say. So, Florio, it's yours.
Yes, we got this. Oklahoma. Slight drop. A week ago, I had Oklahoma at number 2. They're down to 3. They almost lost to Baylor, guys. A Baylor team that is in major hard times right now. 0-4. I mean, a Baylor team that had lost to Liberty, Texas, San Antonio, and Duke. Oklahoma should have had an easier time with these guys, but Baylor played like they still had RG3 and company still with them. Unbelievable. But Baker Mayfield found a way to get it done. 283 yards and 3 scores. And they barely get by Baylor, 49-41. They should have had an easier time with those guys, but no. Baylor, I'll give Baylor credit. They played with a lot of heart, but it was just too much Oklahoma. They're on a bye this week. Their next game, they should have an easy time. I got Iowa State coming in. They should have no trouble with that. But October 14, guys, Red River Shootout, Texas. Get ready. October 14. That's in a couple weeks here on this show. We're going to preview that huge one. So there's nothing left to say. Oklahoma's number 3. Number 2, your reigning and defending college football playoff national champion, Clemson Tigers. What in the world, guys? Did I really see them having trouble with BC? A team that Notre Dame had no trouble with? Wow. Color me surprised. For most of that, going into the fourth quarter, it was a 7-all game. Yeah, Clemson did turn on the afterburners in the fourth. But, man, they should have had no trouble with those guys. But taking Boston College to a 7-all tie in the fourth quarter, I got to call that out. I'm sorry. But, no. And now you get a very tough game coming up against Virginia Tech. And then you get by that. Then you got a potential trap game against Wake Forest. And then you're going up against a so-so Syracuse team in the Carrier Dome. So we'll see how that goes. So I don't know. But they should have had a much easier time at BC. I mean, a 7-0 going into the fourth quarter tied at 7. No. Sorry. Clemson's number 2. MF, I mean, 7-all in the fourth quarter against BC.
Yeah, very unacceptable. If you're a team like that, that is definitely not the way you want to look. If you're the Clemson Tigers, the reigning and defending national champions, you let Boston College in and let them hang around way too long. You definitely drew the ire of myself, Anthony Florio, and Mike Bullock with that performance. Not going to help. Not going to win any favors from any one of us. But you did win. You got the job done. Good for you. Like that ever again. One of my friends used to say that to me a couple of times. So I'm warning you, Clemson. You ever pull a stunt like that again, you're gonna pay dearly for that. Don't ever pull that stunt again. So Bullock is yours.
All right, number 2 for me is the Clemson Tigers as well. So nothing else for me to say, and I'm pretty sure you guys know now that it's a final. The Green Bay Packers have beaten the Chicago Bears 35-14. This game was not even close all the way. I mean, Aaron Rodgers with just a dominant performance, 4 touchdown passes, and yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to say. So let's move on to our number one.
Come on, Bo. You can lead off on this one, right? You know who it is.
Gee, I wonder who it is. Oh yeah, it's the Crimson Tide of Alabama, and yeah, they basically just dominated Vanderbilt 59-0. I mean, in a game we thought was going to be much closer than that, but that just goes to show you the dominance of the Crimson Tide. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. Florio, it is yours.
Alabama. Wow. I honestly thought Vanderbilt was gonna give them a competitive game because they were undefeated going in. They had pulled a humongous upset the week before against Kansas State. Oh my gosh. While they held the Vanderbilt quarterback to only 20 yards passing. Their leading rusher, 20 yards. And their two leading receivers, 14 yards apiece. Oh, my Lord. I mean, Harris, 3 rushing touchdowns. Scarborough had a couple. I mean, they didn't really need Hurts in that one. I mean, I'm surprised the defense didn't do more. I mean, they only managed 1 interception. I thought they would have had a lot more sacks and the whole 9 yards, but it was just a dominant offensive performance by Alabama. And what else is there to say except Bama's back? And, man, Vandy, thanks for coming. So, nothing left to say. Number one, back at number 1 in the power poll, Alabama Crimson Tide. Roll Tide, roll. And I know Jason Hixenwald's got to be loving that. So, MF, wrap it up.
He's got every right to be loving what he's hearing right now because let's say it, Alabama right now is the best team in college football. Bar none, hands down, they look poised to win yet another national championship. I don't think there's a team out there that can even give them a threat right now. That's how good Alabama is. They don't just rebuild, they reload. Scary part. Just when we thought that maybe Bama might lose a step or two because of what happened a year ago in the national championship game, they look even more scarier than ever before. And that's a horrible thing for the rest of college football. Alabama right now is the best team in the game. And right now, I don't think there's no team, not Clemson, not Oklahoma, not Ohio State, not Notre Dame, not even Michigan, that can even come close to what Alabama has been doing. That's how good and scary they are. Number 1 with the bullet, Roll Tide! Alabama. Anthony, let's put the exclamation point on this show.
Will do, MF. That's exactly what we're going to do. College Football Thursday for this week is done. I want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, we'll be back with you tomorrow night, same time for NFL Friday. We got some huge games on tap. Of course, I know the big story in the NFL is all those national anthem protests and all that good stuff, but I know that's something we need to get into, but if I'm going to be real honest with you, that's something we should honestly put on the back burner because all I want to get into.
There is no time, there is no place for anything like that. We're a show about football. That's what we're going to be covering. That's what we're going to be dealing with. 10:30 Eastern, we're dropping the hammer on the Thursday night game, and then we're going right into week number 4.
Amen to that, MF. I couldn't have said that.
Yeah, sorry, Derek. I mean, if you're expecting us to get into this, ain't going to happen.
No.
We're just here to talk about the games, not all this nonsense that's going on.
Exactly right. So, and besides, he did a video on his own anyway.
So he basically covered it for us.
Thank you. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So it's all about the games tomorrow night.
And I definitely want you guys to at least go and watch Derek Ferrera's video because it is a very compelling and a very good.
I did see
a
it.
very good video. It's really good. Like, I really think you guys should go out of your way and go to Falcon Striker 445 and watch this video. It is a must see. I will give you that. I like it that Derek can do that off the base. We can do our business, and that's cover the football. That's what we need to get into, not the negative stuff like inside the NFL or all that stuff. We ain't no TMZ. We ain't no any of this Hollywood or ESPN or anything like that. We've always been focused on the sports and the thing. Sometimes we got some nonsense stuff that needs to be called out, and the only time we're calling out is it because we're calling out teams for a crappy play, and there's going to be a few teams that's going to get called out tomorrow. Ooh. I can rest assure you on that.
And we know one of them is your team, Fletch.
Oh, don't even get me started, Bullock. And I think the Patriots might get called out tomorrow. I think the Patriots might get called out tomorrow because I don't know. I got this funny feeling you might have a few choice words for your Patriots, Bullock.
Not quite exactly, because here's the thing. I mean, we expected the Texans to give the Patriots a tough time because of that defense. So I mean, and plus you have to give Deshaun Watson credit. I mean, he played a really good game. So if you're expecting a Bullock rant, you ain't gonna get that from me tomorrow night.
No, I don't think so. So well, that's all there is to it. Tomorrow night, Week 4, NFL Friday, all about the games. None of that other nonsense. It's all about the games and our power rankings, which there will be humongous shakeups in all of that. So that's really all I can say on that. So that's tomorrow night. And then Monday night, we got Ridiculously Raw. Tuesday, we got the Cerebral Smack Talk, the go-home show for Hell in a Cell. And next week, College Football Thursday, guys. Looks like it's going to be a slow week because I really don't see any real standout games. So, well, I do see a couple, but I don't really see any that really, is really getting me excited. So, but we'll get into them next week. So that's it. So until tomorrow night, for NFL Friday, it's Anthony Floyo here. For Good Alignment, Michael Fletcher. For Michael Bullock. And in spirit, Didi Woodson and Derek Ferrera. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up 14-4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for NFL Friday, you've been watching Strictly Sports, College Football Thursday, right here on the Tone 25 at YouTube.com. For now, Anthony Floyo. So long.